Please stand for a reading from the Gospel of Matthew. Let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:16.
I hope she stays. I hope she stays. I cannot tell you how beautiful you... No, you do not look beautiful. You look stellar. It really has been an incredible week. And one of the... Hold on, don't start it yet. Don't start it yet. So I have been studying and researching NASA and space and science, and I have learned everything there is to learn about Artemis. Look it up. It's really cool. We're going to the moon in 2024. It takes 6 months to go to... Look it up. It's really, really cool in NASA. And I thought that's where I was going to go, but it's not. So what does every good science, space trip need? A countdown, right? A countdown. So hold on, don't go there yet. We're going to do it in just a second. Yeah, all right, now start it. We're at 10 minutes. There are bets being made right now whether or not I can do this in 10 minutes. Here we go. So, 9:51. So, I was really inspired this week. I don't know if you know how much joy and excitement these kids experienced and they brought into our lives. One of the things that happened every night was that the staff kind of in the middle found a way to hang out in the kitchen together and enjoy one another and laugh. And I've had so many comments on that, on how beautiful that was. And one night I got inspired. And I watched the kids playing Duck, Duck, Goose. And I thought, that looks fun. I'm going to try it. But I didn't think something through. It never crossed my mind that one of them would hit a 50-year-old man on the head and say, goose. But it happened. And that child got around 3 times, and I never did catch her. And so I sat down about to die. Andrew was going to get the AED machine for me because I didn't look good. And then another child decided, we're going to be a bully today. We're going to bully the senior pastor today. And they hit me again. Goose. And I got up after about 5 minutes later, got up and began to chase and never did catch that child either. I really couldn't even tell you what they looked like. But after I chased them, I basically got back to the middle and fell down in the middle, and this happened. So I can't breathe. I'm about to die, and I've got, 147,512 kids laying on my chest. This is my best picture, and I'm going to figure out a way to put this on my wall. Stellar. That kind of joy, that kind of excitement, that's what we've had here this week. I cannot say thank you to Esty and Marie enough for the phenomenal planning and work that they've done. The light of the world. The light of the world. The light of the world. We go past it really, really quickly. Who is the light of the world? But it's interesting that the writer is calling us to be the light of the world. How do we do that? 7 minutes and 20 seconds. You notice what's right before this text, right? You are the salt of the world. And what happens when you lose your salt? What happens when you lose your taste? You lose that oomph. It's easy to lose our taste. It's easy to lose that oomph. I'll tell you this, there is nothing that brings the oomph back to a church than children. It is children that bring the life into the church. And moms and dads, especially for those of you who might be in this room for the first time, I've never known a congregation that was willing to sacrifice more to be able to do church for children. It is an honor to be the senior pastor here at Smyrna First United Methodist Church. I want you to know how serious they are and how committed they are to providing a healthy place for your children to grow in their faith, to grow in community of faith, and to learn what it means to be the light of the world. Do you remember what's right before the salt and the light? It's Jesus teaching on the Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are the merciful. Blessed are the meek, for they shall... You guys have been in church before. Blessed are the peacemakers. Well, we need a lot more peacemakers nowadays, don't we? It's the last one that we forget. Do you remember? I try to forget it, but Jesus keeps leaving it in there. Blessed are the persecuted. Blessed are the persecuted. Tuesday night, Jen and I were going up the stairs to go to, and Jen, neither one of us is persecuted, so let me clean that up real quick. But Jen and I are going up the stairs Tuesday night, it's time for bed, and she starts talking to me about some family and some friends that had died, and the services and the funerals, and it hit me as we're walking up the steps. I literally stopped, and I thought, oh no, I have a funeral tomorrow. I had completely forgotten about it. See, what had happened was, Jim Carmichael had asked me to do a funeral for someone who didn't have a church. And they didn't have a church family. And he asked me right before I left town, and I completely forgot. So that morning, I called the widow, and we talked, and we were ready, and everything went great. But I learned something, 4 minutes and 45 seconds left. I learned something in that. The man's name who died was Neville Matsumoto. Anybody know him? Whew. Neville Matsumoto. He was born in 1933 in the Bronx. He was 8 years old on the day that shall live in infamy. 8 years old when Pearl Harbor's attacked. He spends his formative years growing up in a world that views him as an enemy. He spends his formative years growing up in a world that doesn't trust him. His son, after the funeral, and we talked a little bit, and he told me that his grandfather, they lost their luncheonette in the Bronx because of Pearl Harbor. That the government came in and pulled them out, and basically they lost everything, and that's the world that his daddy grew up in, Neville Matsumoto. At 18 years old, he did what you do when you want to show. He enlisted in the Air Force. Think about that for a second. 18 years old, now he's going to get drafted, but he didn't want to wait till he got drafted. He enlisted in the Air Force at 18 years old and served with honor and dignity in the Air Force. When he got out, he went home, and this is the most American story ever. It's one of the reasons that you love this place. He went home after serving his hitch in the Army, meets a good Jewish girl, and they get married. Ruth Benson, now Matsumoto. And I was talking with her about their life. And she said it was hard. When we got married, people looked at us funny. People treated us differently. Our own family treated us wrong. She said we were persecuted. We were mistreated. We couldn't find places to live for a long time. We had to live with people because nobody would rent to us, much less sell to us. And then she said, but you know, our relationship was made stronger, and we were able to withstand a lot of stuff because of how we were persecuted. Relationships are made stronger when they withstand fire. Relationships are made stronger when they withstand hurt. Now, maybe many of you are sitting right here now going, we must be the strongest people ever on the face of the planet. Because not only have you withstood it in church life, you've withstood it at work, at home, in politics. There comes a time when you look around and you see the relationships and you see the fruit, and you see the people and you go, look at God. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? A minute and 25 seconds left. We should not go too fast, too quickly past the light of the world. And we should make sure that we remember that we are supposed to keep our taste, that we are supposed to keep our faithfulness. And in our faithfulness and in our vigor and in our passion for God and our passion for Jesus, Jesus shines through us. And in shining through us, the world sees Christ. A minute. I think about Paul in Athens in front of the Areopagus. I'm in danger now. He had been there for a couple of weeks. And he's speaking to people and goes, you're very religious. Religion's not your problem. Your passion is your problem. Your zeal and lack thereof is your problem. You love Dionysius and wine and parties, but you don't love Jesus. You don't love your gods. Let me tell you a God that you can love. Let me tell you a Jesus that you can adore, who adores you, who is the only light that has ever shined, Romans. He is the only light that has ever shined, Smyrnans. He is the only light worth following. And he is the light that we want in our children every day. Amen? Amen. Amen.